Well, today I'd like to tell you about St. Hubert. St. Hubert is the patron saint of hunters, and so I have my favorite hunting dog. Ginger doesn't really hunt, but she is part beagle, so she's bred for that sort of thing. Anyway, he was also the saint whose intercession was sought for the prevention of rabies. So he's one of the patron saints of dogs, too. Anyway, St. Hubert lived a long time ago in basically modern-day Belgium. He was born in France, in Toulouse, in 656, we think. And his father was the Duke of Aquitaine. Now, when I think about the life of Hubert, I think about an old friend of mine. He was a priest, and he had a spotty reputation. He was known for spending too much time in the bar and known for spending too much time on the golf course. And one day we were having a talk, and he said to me, you know, I've saved more souls on the bar and the golf course than I ever have in church. I couldn't help thinking, well, maybe if you spent more time in church, you'd sort of even the score up a little bit, because his reputation was well-founded. But over the course of the years, as I've thought about saints like Hubert, I came to a little bit of an understanding. And I'll get to that. You see, Hubert was somebody who grew up at the court, and he was somebody who loved to hunt, and that impulse really ruled his life. Now, he got married, and he had a son, but in childbirth, his wife died. And that led Hubert to despair, really. He turned away from God and just started living a life that revolved around, well, what he was passionate about, and that was hunting. So Hubert was hunting one day, and it was Good Friday. And everybody else was in church, and there was Hubert. He was stalking a stag. And when he finally came up to the stag and was ready to shoot, the stag turned to him, and there, between the stag's horns, or antlers, was a glowing crucifix. And Hubert heard a voice. And the voice said, "Hubert, unless you turn to the Lord and embrace a holy life, you will swiftly go down into hell." And then Hubert responded, "Lord, what must I do?" And the voice responded, "Seek out Lambert, who was a bishop, a local bishop, and supposedly a good and holy man, and he will instruct you." So that's exactly what Hubert did. He had this vision, and so he went, sought out Lambert. He took religious instruction, and Hubert was so impressed that he became a priest and helped to run the diocese of which Lambert was the bishop. As time went on, Lambert died, and Hubert became his successor. And after a while, I think in the early 700s, he became the first bishop of Liège, which is a large city in Belgium today. Hubert spent the rest of his life being a bishop, but he was also the apostle to the Ardennes. The Ardennes region is a region of mountains and very dense forests, and he would go and speak to the hunters and the local populace. He was somebody who was doing his best to really hunt souls for God. And so he turned his life not just to the Lord, but also he turned his skills, he turned his abilities, he turned everything he had to helping others to come to that same revelation, that same devotion that he had found. So anyway, why do I bring that up and bring up my old friend? Because, you know, as I originally felt, you know, my friend did need to spend a little bit more time in church. He was somebody who needed to dedicate himself a little bit more closely, I think. But at the same time, there was a little bit of wisdom in what he said, at least a kernel of truth. And that is, we don't know where God is going to find us. God was pursuing Hubert and finally found him out in the forest while he was hunting. That's where Hubert came to be more devoted to Christ. I'm sure there are some people who spoke to my old friend and developed a devotion, even though it was a devotion that was born on the golf course or in the bar. Not the best places to find God, but any place is a good place to find God. And so what we're supposed to understand are two things. One, God gives up on nobody. He keeps searching. He keeps calling. He keeps trying to find us. And two, it isn't that, okay, if you go to the bar, it doesn't matter, and if you go play golf, it doesn't matter. That's not the lesson. The lesson is, no matter where we are, whether it's the bar or the golf course or the grocery store or at work or in church, we're supposed to make sure that we are the good Christian in that circumstance. We're supposed to be the ones who, wherever we are, we try to be good apostles. We're supposed to be the ones who are really the instrument of God, searching out the lost, helping those who need it to find their way. And that's really the sort of life we're called to. It's the sort of life that Hubert, or St. Hubert, finally lived as he became the apostle to the Ardennes and the people who lived there. We need to make sure that whatever activity we're engaged in, we're doing it in a Christian fashion so that, who knows, maybe the way we live, the way we act, the way we speak will have a beneficial effect on somebody and lead them to Christ.